prayer. When you pray for something that seems to have an impossible result, how desperate are you for God to intervene? You know, there are several stories in the Bible that show how desperate individuals are to see their impossible become possible with Jesus. So, are you desperate enough to cut a hole in the roof of a friend's house in order to get your prayers answered? Mark chapter 2 tells us a story of when Jesus went to this home and crowds of people followed him, and they just packed in the house, and there were tons and tons of people outside, so much that not one more person could squeeze in. However, there were 4 men who were desperate enough to believe that if they could just see Jesus, that he could heal their paralyzed friend. So they carried this paralyzed man on a stretcher to the top of the house, and they cut a hole in the roof and lowered this man into the room where Jesus was. They were desperate to have their friend healed. And Jesus saw their determination and their faith, and he healed the man. They were desperate enough. Are you desperate enough to crawl on your hands and knees through crowds of people just to reach Jesus's robe, his garment, the bottom of it, knowing that if you do, you're going to be healed? Mathew chapter 9 tells us a story of a woman who had an issue of bleeding for 12 years. And she knew Jesus was going to be in her area, so she crawled on her hands and knees and pushed through crowds and crowds of people just to touch the hem of his garment. And in verse 21, she says, "If only I may touch the hem of his garment, I will be made well." Jesus healed her because of her faith and determination. She was desperate enough. The next time you have an impossible prayer request, I encourage you to be desperate enough to believe that if you could just press in and get close to Jesus, that he will meet your need. Be encouraged and be desperate enough to have God answer your prayers. Thank you for joining me for my prayer moments with Jan.